Thank you very much, and don't forget, this video was made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Want to support me? The link is on the screen. Sincerely yours, VisualPony, and enjoy this audiobook. The Lunar Cypher, Chapter 23. Epilogue. A long time later, very far from Equestria. I finished the entry in Nebula's official logbook and then got out my private journal, pausing to look up and scan the sky visible through the big windows looking out over the stern gallery. There were a few columns in the far distance, too small and scattered to be used as cover for anyone intent on mischief. Far below, the sea was even emptier, no land visible at all. I lifted the quill, but before I could begin, there was a knock at my cabin door.
"Captain?" "Yes, come in,"
I answered as I closed my journal and set the quill aside. It was the third mate, Katarekatek. She had a couple of scrolls tucked into the holes in her left foreleg.
"We've got all the recovered loot squared away, Captain."
She passed the scrolls over to me.
"That's a stowage chart and the detailed list. Some of it is fairly unique pieces, and we may be able to determine where they came from." "Good work, Cat."
I nodded with satisfaction.
"Do you know how the bosun is coming along with the damage report?" "She's double-checking it now, I think. She was with the repair crew that's patching up the launcher platform last I heard. Those buzzard pirates hit us pretty hard."
I tapped my hoof on my little writing desk in a small show of annoyance.
"Mrs. Katarekatek." "Oh, sorry, Captain. That is to say, Griffin Pirates."
I nodded and slipped the scrolls into a pigeonhole.
"Could you ask Rarity to step in, please?" Aye, ma'am."
Cat saluted and went out. A few minutes later there was an elegant knock at my door and Rarity appeared, already based and dressed with a familiar diamond dangling from her right ear. I really don't know how she does it.
"You wanted me, darling?"
I cleared my throat. Rarity permitted herself a subtle and chic roll of her eyes.
"Would you prefer Captain, darling?"
I sighed. My friends were outside the chain of command, of course. They came and went as they pleased and could only be loosely classified as friends of the captain who sometimes listen to her, and if they give you an order that seems a bit dodgy, you'd best check with the captain first. Unless it's Pinkie Pie, and then you'd be well advised to just run away.
"The earring, Rarity." "Oh, this?"
She waved a hoof at the glittering stone in a casual way, as if it were a simple bauble instead of a gem the size of a hen's egg.
"I did defeat the owner in single combat. Doesn't that make it mine by the ancient law of the sea? Or air or something? The pirate must have stolen it from someone else,"
I explained patiently.
"If we manage to locate the original owner, you'll have to give it back." "Oh, very well, Twilight. But it can't hurt to wear it in the meantime, can it?"
I don't know why she bothered to bat her eyelashes at me. I sighed.
"Fine. Just don't get too attached to it is all I'm saying." "Well, what about Pinkie's spatula? She didn't..." "If you promise me you'll never mention the magic spatula incident again, I'll try not to look quite so hard for the owner of the diamond, okay?"
She smiled and clicked her front hoofs together in approval.
"Deal, darling. Now, aside from admonishing me for liberating a fabulous accessory from a positively beastly pirate, why did you want to see me?" "We're going to need to pass for a saddle Arabian merchant vessel. Do you think you can design a paint job or something that will disguise Nebula's profile enough to fool someone who's not looking too closely?" How closely?"
I didn't want to go into the exact details of my next little escapade. Loose lips sink ships, and all of that. Or loose beaks or snouts or whatever that thing was that Ensign had. But Rarity was one of the ponies that would have to be in on the early planning meetings anyway.
Well, say we wanted to sneak by the air defenses of Stableopolis one morning just before dawn. Oh.
Rarity paused, blinked, and then decided not to ask if we were back on the search for the labyrinthine stairs.
If we added some false structures on the deck, a bow stabilizer and a few non-functional fins, I think it would work. I'll do up some sketches first thing tomorrow.
I thanked her and then went back to my journal. An hour later I looked up and saw that the sun was getting low in the sky. I got up and put away all the papers and writing instruments, then indulged in a luxurious stretch. I opened the little door that led to the stern gallery and stepped out, taking a deep breath of the warm sea air. I stood with my forehoofs over the railing, mentally going over the events of the day, while I waited for the sun to set. I could hear the sounds of the crew securing the repair work for the night and smell the tantalizing odors that drifted back from the gallery where Pinkie Pie was preparing who knows what wonderful things for our victory celebration. All in all, I felt pretty pleased and content. I checked our course on the overhead compass and then flipped up the cover of the speaking tube that led to the quarterdeck and blew into it. A moment later I heard a tinny voice say,
"I come.
Bring her 2 points to starboard if you please."
2 points starboard. I come.
I flipped down the cover. The new course would place the moonrise directly astern of us where I would have an unobstructed view. As the sun slipped below the horizon, the sounds from below me took on a more festive character. The crew were already gathering to brag to each other about the party they'd played in the action against the pirates, and I knew the celebration would last long into the night. The moon rose full and bright and beautiful. I reached out with my magic and touched the great wheel ever so gently.
"I love you, Luna,"
I said.
"I miss you."
Then I let my magic fade away and went forward to join the party. Author's note. Thank you all for reading my little story. Now I'm going to relax for a little while and discover what gems lie hidden elsewhere in this wonderful universe. Onward and upwards, adventures without end.
Common time! Okay, as always, I will remind you that you can support me via my Patreon. Every dollar is needed, appreciated, and very much appreciated. Oh, I already did that. Well, it's already pretty late. I recorded a lot today, so cut me some slack here. What can I say about this epilogue and the story as a whole? Well, I think you might want to wait for that little opinion piece of mine, because there will be one of my first ever fanfiction reviews coming out next week. So, look forward to that, because in that you will hear my opinion of this entire story, including this epilogue, by the way. So, stay tuned.